Good morning, all of you. So today we are going to study 8th Standard Science Chapter 1, Living World and Classification of Microbes. So about the living world, what about the classification? Classification is actually very important in order to understand different organisms, their categories, and remember them along with the different characteristics. For that purpose, classification of organisms is always necessary, and for this purpose, a very great scientist named Robert Harding Whittaker. Robert Whittaker in the year 1920 has invented this type of classification of living organisms. So living organisms, according to Robert Whittaker's classification, was classified into 5 kingdoms. What are these 5 kingdoms? Let us try to understand them. For this classification, actually, he considered if the cells of these organisms are prokaryotic or eukaryotic. I hope in earlier class you have studied what is prokaryotic and eukaryotic. Prokaryotes are the organisms having primitive type of cell where the nucleus is not specifically defined. All the material inside the nucleus is mixed up with the cytoplasm inside the cell, and nuclear membrane is absent over in prokaryotes. While on the other hand, eukaryotes can be classified further into unicellular and multicellular organisms where the cells are having a complete proper nucleus with a complete nuclear membrane, and all the material inside the nucleus, that is chromosomes, DNA, all are protected inside this nucleus. Okay, so according to Whittaker's classification, we first of all have prokaryotes and eukaryotes. Prokaryotes are very limited organisms, while eukaryotes can be further classified into further classes. Prokaryotes mostly are unicellular, they have only single cell body, and the kingdom that Whittaker named them was Monera. Monera kingdom had only unicellular bodies, and mostly many bacteria belong to this category. On the other hand, eukaryotes were further classified into unicellular and multicellular bodies. Unicellular organisms who had eukaryotic type of cell were named as kingdom Protista. And then the multicellular organisms who had eukaryotic type of cells were further classified into 3 categories. The three categories were kingdom fungi, then kingdom Plantae, and finally kingdom Animalia. So Plantae and Animalia, we are going to study in higher classes. But for this sake, today's sake in 8th standard, you have to study Kingdom Monera and Kingdom Protista, which include mostly unicellular organisms. Now, according to Whittaker, we have seen that organisms basically are classified into prokaryotes and eukaryotes. Then we have to next classify them under the categories unicellular or multicellular. Further, their mode of nutrition, if they are autotrophic or heterotrophic. Autotrophs means, for example, plants which can produce their own food with the help of sunlight and chlorophyll. They are called as autotrophs. So plants are mostly autotrophic, while other organisms like fungus, fungi are saprophytic. Saprophytic organisms have the capacity to absorb nutrients from the dead and decaying organisms, dead and decaying bodies they are growing upon. For example, your mushrooms. And on the other hand, all the maximum animals, they are heterotrophic because they depend upon these producers, that is plants which are autotrophic, or fungus for their food. So they are coming under the category of heterotrophic mode of nutrition. Further, their lifestyle, as you all know, plants are producers, animals are consumers, and fungus mostly help in decomposing the dead and decaying material by absorbing the nutrients from them. Then phylogenetic relationship is also added by Whittaker. Here, prokaryotic or eukaryotic as well as unicellular and multicellular type of organisms are also added. So first of all, come to Kingdom Monera. In Kingdom Monera, we have unicellular organisms. These organisms are very microscopic, having bodies made up of only one cell, and they may be autotrophic or heterotrophic. They can be autotrophic or they can be heterotrophic also. They can make their own food, some of them, and some of them could not. So that is the place where Whittaker's classification, you see, will have some demerit, have some problem. Okay. And these monerans, these are prokaryotic cells without distinct nucleus or cell organelles. They have the capacity to produce their own food or not. Next thing, they are specifically prokaryotic. They have a primitive type of cell, means their nucleus is not having a nuclear membrane, and their cells are without having any distinct nucleus. Okay, so that is the speciality of Kingdom Monera. Next we come to Kingdom Protista. In Kingdom Protista, they are also unicellular organisms. Then they have a well-defined nucleus, and inside the nucleus, nuclear membrane, complete genetic material is stored. They have pseudopodia or hair-like structure. So you all have studied these examples of Protista, that is amoeba, paramecium, eumena. These type of organisms we have already studied. On the other hand, monerans and maximum bacteria are the examples. Variety of bacteria. Okay. In Protista, one more thing, for movement they have pseudopodia, whip-like flagellum in euglena, then cilia in paramecium. These type of organs are present for movement, for locomotion. Then some are autotrophic like euglena. In Protista, euglena is the organism which is autotrophic. It has chlorophyll and it can produce its own food. That is an exception. Then amoeba and paramecium depend upon others for their food. Then that's why they are called as heterotrophic. So euglena here is autotrophic. While amoeba and paramecium are heterotrophic, they depend upon others for their food. Okay. Next, we come to the third kingdom, that is fungi. Fungus, you all must have seen in this rainy season, whenever you keep bread or something on outside your refrigerators, they can absorb moisture and slowly grow over the bread. That is mucor mostly that grows on bread. Another type of example of a fungus is your mushroom. These are non-green as well as heterotrophic organisms. So what is the speciality of kingdom fungi? They are non-green. Obviously, you see, autotrophic or heterotrophic is always a dilemma. Few are autotrophic, few are heterotrophic. In Protista also some are heterotrophic, euglena is autotrophic. Here, classification of Whitaker is going to show some drawbacks. Okay. Then in kingdom fungi you have them that they are non-green. Obviously, that means they are heterotrophic. They cannot produce their own food. Okay. They depend upon other organisms like producers for their food. Then they feed upon dead and decaying organic matter. Dead bodies of plants and animals they will be growing upon. They absorb the nutrients from these dead bodies and grow themselves, while the dead bodies are completely getting decomposed, going back to nature, all the material enclosed in those bodies. These cell wall is made up of tough and complex sugar called chitin. Their cell wall is made up of chitin. Okay, that is a very hard structure and cannot be broken easily. It is actually made up of complex sugar material. Then some fungi are thread-like. Thread-like, you all know a thread. And many nuclei are present in the cytoplasm. Now, examples of fungus are Baker's yeast, Aspergillus, which grow on corn, and Penicillium and mushroom. Penicillium is the fungus that help in fighting producing antibodies and fighting with the bacterial infection. So penicillium is used for making medicines, and mushrooms, as you all know, people eat in the varied forms. Mushroom soups and mushroom vegetables are being made. They are nutritious and that's why eaten by higher organisms. Now, Monera, Protista and fungus. These three kingdoms today we have seen, and I hope you all have understood why they are different from each other and which characteristic is crossing over and is creating demerit for the Whittaker's five kingdom classification. Plantae and Animalia will be there in your higher classes. Now, microorganisms can also be further classified, as we have the second part of this chapter, that is classification of microbes. This was the first part of the chapter where we have seen the three kingdoms, Monera, Protista and fungus. You can classify them among themselves. Further, we have classification among the microorganisms. Microorganisms can also be further classified into prokaryotes and eukaryotes. That means, you know, those whose cell is having a well-defined nucleus are eukaryotes. Those who are not having well-defined nucleus is called as prokaryotes. So microbes can also be classified into these two categories. Maximum prokaryotes are bacteria and eukaryotes are further classified into three types, that are protists, then you have fungus and algae. This is the classification of microorganisms. We have further classified them. Then out of this, bacteria are further classified on the basis of their shape. Cocci are circular in shape. Bacillus are rod shaped. Then Vibrio, which are specifically causing cholera, are comma shaped. And spirillum shaped bacteria are just like that of a spring. Okay, they can move very vigorously from one place to another. So bacteria's size is about 1 micron to 10 micrometer. Next we have protista. Protists, protozoans here include Paramecium and Entamoeba. Paramecium are found in soil, fresh water and seawater. Some are found in the body of other organisms and are pathogenic. They cause infection in our human bodies also. Amoeba, Paramecium are free living. Entamoeba histolytica cause amoebiasis in human being. Dysentery is caused because of that, and Plasmodium vivax causes malaria, while Euglena is completely autotrophic. It has chlorophyll to produce their own food. Next we have fungus. Fungi is here, you all know, baker's yeast and mushrooms are the examples of fungus. They are saprophytic. They absorb the food material from dead and decaying material, and they reproduce sexually or asexually by budding. Okay. The next one is your algae. In eukaryotic microbes, algae are aquatic maximum, and eukaryotic unicellular autotrophic organisms they are. Examples are chlorella and chlamydomonas. Very few species of algae are unicellular. Most of them are multicellular and visible with the naked eyes. Here we finish the study of microbes and their categories. The last one microbe remaining is that of virus. Virus is called as the microbe which is living on the boundary line of living and non-living. Viruses are extremely minute. Plus, they are found in form of independent particles, but when they are independent, they are not at all harmful. So, viruses is a long molecule of DNA or RNA and covered with a protein. Viruses survive only in living plants or animal cells and produce their own protein and help the host. With the help of host, they can attack the other organisms. They destroy the host cell and become free whenever they wish. These free viruses again infect new cells, and viruses may cause diseases to plants and animals. Certain viruses cause diseases in human beings. All of you know polio virus, then influenza, HIV/AIDS. In plants also they cause infection, that is tobacco mosaic virus and wilt virus. While in bacteria, they cause bacteriophage and take away the body of bacteria and attack other organisms. So these are the things included in your first chapter. Next class, we shall cover the question answers based on this chapter. Okay, thank you.